down a bit, so I've got some movement on that. So we've got that, and I'm going to put more on the head. And the head, this is an IK head. Let me see, so I'm going to put the, yeah, I'll put it on the head. So that was at 3, so I'll put this at 6. So I've got frame number 6. I mean, I'll go to 5 actually, and I'll put the rotate X again. And I'll see what that, and I'll make sure this is looping. And that, well, that might be a bit much. And maybe pull this down a bit. So you got this kind of, and I'm going to pull the head forward a bit too. So we've got that and that. So we've got this. So we've got this kind of motion. I can always pull the head forward a bit more. So that. I always try and reuse curves if possible. Now I'm going to try and center the head too, because otherwise I don't want the head drifting all over the place because of the rotations. So we can see the head's going there. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to no, that doesn't do it. I'm going to center the head a bit. So I'm going to, the head's okay here. It drifts off to the left here. So here it's fine. And okay, the midpoint of this, I'm going to put it back to 15 again, otherwise it gets confusing. So it's fine here. Midpoint 15 is 8. It's okay here. 4, it's kind of drifting slightly, so I'm going to pull it around a bit. Maybe rotate it slightly so it doesn't look kind of unnatural. And so we got that, and wait a minute, not that. Get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of that again. Hang on a second. So, okay, so we've got the translation here, and then we've got one here, and then we've got one at 8, which is fine, and then we've got one here, which is okay, and then we've got one here. And maybe a bit like that, and maybe a bit more like something like that. Let me see. So we've got this centering the head a little bit. Let's get this back to the graph editor. God, where is that graph editor? Oh, anyway, I can just click on my layouts. Yeah. So then you have that. I mean, it's not perfect, but it'll do. And finally, I'll just show you an easy way of doing the tail. So the tails, I mean, you know, you can refine this and get it all to look just as you want it to. Yeah, but, I mean, the basics are there. Now, in terms of the tail, again, looking at our reference, if I can get it to work. I mean, it isn't like the tail is really moving that much, but let's see, if I, one way of doing the tail is again, you know, using the curves from this, the up and down motion. Let's say there's up and down, there's a up, there's a kind of up and down. So we've got, if I thought of this, there's a kind of up and down the curve. So yeah, so you've got the, using the up and down motion of this. Let's just try with the up and down, which is going like this. I could, if I like, take this curve, edit, copy, and so that's starting at frame number 1, and I could go in and I could paste that onto, say, maybe this joint here at frame number 3, but this is rotation. I'd paste it onto the rotate Z as opposed to the translate Y. So I go paste, and then I'm gonna just, I'll make sure this is cycling. So we've got that, and then I might have to adjust this. So we've got it going up like that. Let's see, just see what happens if I pull this down. So that's coming maybe down a bit more. I mean, we just want to try this. Maybe less. The tail is not moving massively. Okay, let's just see. So let's take this and pull this the whole thing out a bit. Maybe a bit more like that. So we've got this. Okay, so let's say we got that. When that was on that joint. I'm just going to copy this again. Just the rotate Z. So that's starting on 3. Okay, edit, copy, and I'm going to paste that one onto the next one. And I'll start at 5. And I'll make some keys, go again, edit, paste. Yeah, let's see, so we got this, and I'll make sure it is cycling. And that might be a little bit too, let's see, so maybe like that. You can always adjust it. And this might be a little bit much, maybe drop it down a bit. And then I can go on to this one, and I can go to 7, and I can do the same thing. And I can loop it, and like this. And I can go, was that this one? Yeah, and then I can go to this one, and I can go to 9. I could do it one frame after every 1 frame, but I'll try it with 2. And go edit, paste, and let's see, and loop this again, and something like that. So then you can have you end up with this, and then of course you can you can go and adjust the tail so it's working, and then you can do the last one. I might do that by hand. So I've got maybe as it's coming up, let's see there. Let's go this and like this. I'll do it in the same back, and then as it's coming up, it's maybe more like this, and as it comes down, maybe it swings in that way more. Let's switch this. I see that it wouldn't be down like that. It's a bit weird. But yeah, let's see. Let's have this. Is it this one that's too far down? I'll have to go and maybe push this all up. Oop. push it up in the rotate. There. Yeah, because the horse is... but anyway, so you get this kind of wavy effect. And that... Oh, finally, always check your horse is working. So let's... But because we've done it this way, let's just check our feet before we set this thing off so we can wind it up and let it go. So let's make sure that our curves are quite straight. So got this here. I'm just going to go through them all. And that, and I make that straight because that's going to be a straight line. And then we want this kind of straight too, because it's going to pull back. You can get away with a fair bit on a run, but you know, it's always good practice to make sure your curves all work. Make sure this is straight. Make sure it's straight. I can bend in there. And just pull this down a bit so it's less obvious. I mean, there might be a tiny bit of slipping there. Again, here, make sure this is straight. That's not going to be noticeable. And there. And then finally, make sure this is also straight. I'm going to save this. And now, let's have a look. Now there is one thing that I would always do that I'm not necessarily going to do on this video, because this is a student version of Maya and it does often crash on my machine. But one thing that you should definitely... Actually, I need to change that. See, if I've straightened up, I see there's some errors. I need to make that like this. I'll key that here. And I key it again here. Oops. And I'm going to make sure that... Oh, and then I'm going to switch it off. So I've keyed it, and then I get... After a couple of frames, I can switch it off. And obviously, I'll key here on frame 13. Oops. On frame 13, I also need to key it off. So, you know, oops, not like that. Edit, undo. So this one here, this is set to 0. There we go. Yeah, it's just because I've added this thing and I don't want it to, affecting my animation. Anyway, so you just remember, if you use the tweakers, key them on and then key them off again. Okay, so yeah, the one thing I said I would always do normally is presently, if I select all this animation, we can see, I'm just going to undo this and make it just a none. NURBS curves, just going to select them. You can see we've got lots of animation all over the shop. What I would always do as a, to keep it nice and neat, is I would always bake out the slipped animation so that everything is in the same place. Now, I'm going to try this anyway. It may crash because my machine seems to have a habit of crashing, but I'll just show you what I mean. Now, it's only the place where the animation has been slipped. So for example, that is this foot here, this foot here, this foot here. I think that's it. Some of these controllers I've slipped to, but so these feet. Everything else has been done from 1 to 15. So I'm going to try and bake this out. I have saved this, so I hope it doesn't crash. I'll just save one more time. And then let's have a look. So I would go Edit, Keys, Bake Simulation. I'm going to bake on 1s. And it says keep unbaked keys. I don't want to keep unbaked keys. I don't want smart bake, yeah? And I'm baking from my time slider, which is 1 to 15. So I go bake, and Maya runs through it. Let's see if it crashes. It's thinking about it. I'll tell you what, I'm going to pause this and see what happens, and I didn't need to pause in the end. Maya did it. Look, see, it's done. It's great. It's baked the animation. Now if I select all my keys, oh, there's a few, but almost all of it is in. So normally what you would do is you would bake everything out. I mean, the easiest thing to do is just select all the slipped animation and bake it out, and you shouldn't have a problem. Anyway, so this is our horse. Let's make it go. Easiest thing, so I'm just going to press keyframe on number 1. I'm going to go to translate Z. I'm going to pull it along a bit to here, and then I'm going to, oh, silly me, I should have to go forward a bit before I pull it along, so I pull it there. I'll make this linear, and then I'm going to this is cycle with offset, and I'll cycle the other way with offset. And then let's just have a look at this and make sure we can get it to moving. So just make sure the feet aren't slipping. 1, so it's sliding back, so I just move it up a wee bit. And then is that just a little bit more? There we go. Let's see, and is that still moving back slightly? Still moving back slightly. Look at that. There you go. That's it, stuck. Foot sticking. So once the feet sticks, I'm looking at that one there. And because all our strides are the same, we know that this is going to work. So then I go to the perspective view. I was already in the perspective view. I'll just turn everything off except the polygons. And I'm going to make sure all the cycles are looping first. So everything except this, I'll make sure it's all looping forwards like that, and looping backwards just in case, like that. Okay, and then turn the NURBS curves off and extend this to say 100 frames. Let's pull it back a wee bit. And here we have a running horse. Actually, you can hardly see it. It's running off the road. There we go. See, so it runs from here. Oops. God almighty, where are it? Oh, there we go. Here. It's really small. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Oh, good God. Yeah. Right. There to 73, so say 80. Okay, so there we go. There to 80. Let's do it. So we've got a running horse, and that's it. And that's how you make a horse animation. Okay, so I hope you got something from this, and yeah.